started to think about what they could do to help the ones stuck by the earthquake. Now, relief was already pouring in from many parts of the world, and relief was mainly in the form of food, water, shelter. But there was one other problem, and that problem was light. Now, there were disturbing stories that started to come out of tragic incidents that were taking place in the darkness of the night in those tent cities. And so Anna and Andrea decided to do something about it. They put their minds together, they started designing something, and they came up with what they called an inflatable solar tent. An inflatable solar tent that could be easily packed together in a flat pack, easily transported, and easily distributed to the disaster-struck areas. Now, this inflatable solar tent was so easy to use. It could be recharged under the sun. It could work for up to 30 hours. It was durable, it was portable, it was water resistant, it was weatherproof, and it had just about everything that those people there were looking for to solve the problem of the darkness. In 2015, Andrea and Anna were invited to Shark Tank, and they walked away with a $200,000 deal for their company, which is called Luminaid. Today, Luminaid distributes those solar panels, those solar lanterns through their retail outlets all across the world. And they even double up as phone chargers, and they're used by trekkers and people who use, the outdoors. This story, ladies and gentlemen, exemplifies the proverbial fact that necessity is the mother of all invention. Invention, innovation, and industrialization have taken center stage in society today. And smart manufacturing has evolved as a must-have for every business. And today's gathering is a celebration of the creativity that brilliant minds bring to every smart enterprise. And those brilliant minds, ladies and gentlemen, are you. Welcome to IMI 2021. My name is Frazier Martins. Give yourselves a big round of applause. Before we begin, I request everyone to please silence your cell phones and devices. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gathered here today to celebrate the success of companies that lead the manufacturing and supply chain excellence journey in India. On behalf of Kaizen Hansei and its strategic partner, Kaizen Institute, India, I welcome all of you to the felicitation ceremony of the 2021 edition of Integrated Manufacturing Excellence Initiative, also known as IMI 2021. First up, we'd like to thank our partners for their unstinted support. Our media partner, The Economic Times, our broadcast partner, ET Now, our digital marketing partner, Redwood Algorithms, our media partners, Efficient Manufacturing, Minerals and Metals Review, Autocar Professional, The CEO Magazine, and The Chemical Weekly. Would you please put your hands together for our partners? Thank you. Now, the last 2 years and its roller coaster rides have taught the strong to be stronger, the lean to be leaner, and the sincere to be passionate. Flexibility and agility as an articulated response to COVID priorities got tweaked, and while doing so, revealed certain things that were never known prior or never tested. Under such extenuating circumstances, the companies that participated in IMI last year and this year, irrespective of whether they qualified or not, are our heroes. They had the easy option of not participating, especially since IMI doesn't give the virtual assessment option. All our assessments are Gemba-based and by thorough professionals. Now, who would question that decision? Yet, They were there last year, and here you are this year, having accepted the challenge of COVID and refusing to hold your hard-earned excellence culture hostage to it. This is nothing but a reiteration of your commitment as disciples of manufacturing excellence. Having qualified through the thorough assessment criteria at IMI, you can be rest assured that your efforts towards a culture of excellence is safe and all set to continue to get better and better in the coming years. Like mentioned in the adage, competition improves the breed, especially good competition. Today, we have amongst us what we can safely call great competition. And the icing on the cake is that the recognition will happen in the company of distinguished guests and professionals. I'd like to quickly introduce to you our advisory panel members. Mr. Ajay Shankar, former Secretary, DIPP, former member of the Planning Commission, and former member secretary, NMCC. Mr. Vijay Kalra, head Mahindra Institute of Quality, the Group Corporate Office, leadership team, and member of the Central Safety Council. Mr. Dr. N. Ravichandran, Director, India and Japan Lighting, and Chief Mentor at UCAL Fuel Systems. Mr. Pradeep Banerjee, former Executive Director, Hindustan Unilever, Vice President, Supply Chain, Unilever South Asia, and Chairman of Nepal Unilever. Dr. Sarita Nagpal, Partner, Kaizen Institute, former Deputy DG at the Confederation of Indian Industry. Mr. Y. Shashidhar, Advisor, Dubal Holdings, UAE, former Managing Director and Partner, Frost & Sullivan, Menasa. Please put your hands together for our advisory panel. Today, we shall recognize and honor the efforts of organizations that are making their shareholders proud, their stakeholders proud, and society proud. To help the advisory panel members hand over the medallions to the qualifiers, we have the following guests of honor with us today. Mr. P. Kanayappan, Managing Director, WAPCO India and Head Commercial Vehicle Solutions, the ZF Group. Mr. N. Thamaya, Vice President, APAC, Merita Incorporated, Managing Director and CEO, Merita India. Mr. Shrikant Badwe, Managing Director, Badwe Group. Mr. Priya Badwe, Executive Director, Badwe Group. Mr. Anurag Agarwal, Executive President, Strategic Initiatives and International Business, Polycab India Limited, and Director, Polycab Australia Pti Limited. Mr. K.K. Jain, Director, Operations, Integrity and Chief Ethics Officer, former CFO, Kalpataru Power Transmission Limited. Mr. Deepak Prasad, Deputy CEO, Vedanta Limited, Jarsugada, Odisha. Mr. M. Kumar, Managing Director, Shibora Machines India Limited, and Executive Officer, Shibora Machine Japan. Mr. Nachiket Kodkani, Senior Vice President, Farm Division, Mahindra & Mahindra. Mr. Pankaj Bajaj, Chief Executive Officer, Bajaj Industries Private Limited. Mr. Willem Uyen, Executive Director, Supply Chain, Hindustan Lever Limited, and Head Supply Chain, South Africa and SEAA at Unilever. Mr. Y.A. Chowdhury, Chief Operating Officer, Medric Limited at the Meiji Group. Mr. Nitin Sonar, Executive Vice President, Operations and Supply Chain, Biostat India Limited. Mr. S.M. Mudda, Managing Director, Misom Labs, Malta, Chairman, Regulatory Affairs Committee, IDMA. Let's put our hands together for all our guests of honor. As a prelude to the prize ceremony, I'd like to now invite Mr. Vinod Grover, Managing Director of the Kaizen Institute, South Asia and Africa, and Chief Mentor, Kaizen Hansei, to say a few words and commence the ceremony. Mr. Vinod Grover, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Not so happy to see so few ladies in this gathering. I wish there were more of that gender participating here. On 24th of March, 2020, that evening, our Prime Minister announced a complete lockdown thanks to the COVID pandemic. And you all experienced what happened in the subsequent days. EMI was scheduled to be launched on the 1st of April, 2020, just about a week after the lockdown started. So you can understand what happened to that launch. The lockdown 1 was followed by lockdown 2, 3, and 4, and it continued up to the end of June 2020. Unlock 1 started on July 1st. And that's when EMI team started getting active. In that environment also, the resilient operational excellence, business excellence community came forward to participate. And we had a fairly satisfactory first year of participation. And we had the honor of Mr. Kaniappan representing India on behalf of ZS WAPCO in the Global Kaizen Award ceremony held virtually. We also had to hold a virtual felicitation ceremony last year. You'll all remember that we had the second COVID wave, the devastating, the most painful one, in May and June 2021. That was the time when in my second year had started off. Once again, the atmosphere was a bit subdued, substantially subdued. It was a bad time. But again, the resilience of the business excellence and manufacturing excellence community came to the fore, and we ended up having very satisfactory participation. As I look at the audience today, we have 42 companies participating, 42 organizations represented here, and nearly 100 participants. Please give yourself a big hand. Excellence is described by Doc Hall, Dr. Robert W. Hall, professor, and an American author. He's written several books, starting with Zero Inventories. He talks of excellence as a moving target. You never reach there. By the time you get somewhere close to where you want to be, the target is moved. He also calls it an unattainable target. You would all remember, some of you would, of course, that the Indian industry started taking some excellence initiatives only in the 90s after the 1991 liberalization. That first decade was primarily when Indian manufacturing started finding its feet, and the focus was primarily on quality. At that time, the word TQC was better known. And terms like lean had not yet been invented. In fact, the book that the machine that changed the world and lean thinking appeared in the middle of 90s. Till that time, we were talking about TPS, the Toyota production system, and JIT, the just-in-time system. And through the Richard Schonberger's book, World Class Manufacturing, the world WCM had become better known. Once the lean thinking appeared, all that shifted to lean. But in India, there were few practitioners. The terms are getting known. So quality was primarily what was being focused in the 90s. By the time we came to the beginning of 2000, lean was better known. TPM came into India, and TQM as a formal practice also came into India, and a lot of initiative for that goes to CII. CII took the initiative, and the lady that spearheaded that is sitting here in the front. I take this opportunity to welcome her, Sarita Nagpal. She was the first qualified lead assessor in India. She got her qualification from UK. She also, on behalf of CII, led the TQM movement and the TPM movement by one-to-one close interaction with the Japanese senseis and the Indian counterparts. And she is most likely known to most of you. She is a recipient of an award which I find very difficult to remember, so I'll try and read it out. It was given to her from the government of Japan, and it has a rather long name, which is supposed to be the top honor of Japan. So I welcome her, and I also extend a special welcome to our keynote speaker who will be speaking to us digitally, Mr. Ajay Shankar. And I have Mr. Kaniyappan, special welcome to you, Mr. Vijay Kalra, Mr. Thimaya, Mr. Pradeep Banerjee is not here today. And of course, it's my privilege to welcome all the awardees. After the first decade of this year, when TPM and TQM, etc., were getting followed, by the time we came to the second decade of this year, this century, people realized that we were implementing a lot of tools, getting some results, but then a rubber band effect would apply. It was so difficult to sustain the improvements that we were getting. That's when, in this last decade, the teens, the focus shifted to culture building, people building, so that improvement sustenance becomes possible. So that was the learning that we kept getting, so the goalpost kept shifting. Now, as we enter this current decade now, our goalpost has shifted again. The digital revolution, known by various names, Internet of Things and Industrial Internet of Things and Industry 4.0. And I'm sure Mr. Kaniyappan will speak about it because ZF WAPCO is taking a lead in that direction. So that's the direction to optimize our resources, to reduce variability, to take out waste. And the other prominent change that is coming around us is sustainability. We have to try and become carbon neutral and water neutral. And circular economy will probably be the buzzword as we go forward. So those are the directions for this century. So as we say, the goalpost has always kept shifting. So while I welcome all of you, I must read out a quote here from Winston Churchill. He says, excellence is caring more than others think is wise, caring more than others think is wise, risking more than others think is safe, dreaming more than others think is practical, and expecting more than others think is possible. That's Winston Churchill. And ladies and gentlemen, excellence needs no recognition, but recognition comes only to those who are excellent. Welcome to the recognition ceremony today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Grover. May I now request Mr. Ajay Shankar to please deliver the keynote. He was unable to travel to be with us owing to last-minute exigencies. However, we will try to have his live address. Mr. Ajay Shankar has had rich and varied experience in public service for over 45 years, primarily in the fields of industry, the power sector, and urban development. He was a member of the premier Indian Administrative Service, which he joined in 1973 and retired as Secretary, Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion in the Government of India. And that was in December 2009. He served for 3 years as Member Secretary of the NMCC, and before serving as Secretary DIPP, he was Principal Advisor in the Planning Commission. He served on the boards of PSUs such as IDBI, Exim Bank, NTPC, NHPC, PFC, and REC as an independent director on HAL, Tata Global Beverages, and L&T. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Ajay Shankar with a big round of applause.
Robert and distinguished members of the audience, I must begin by thanking you for giving me the privilege of being with you today. I regret not being physically present, but I think we're getting used to this hybrid and online mode of interaction. I think India today is at an inflection point. We have been through a very tough period due to COVID, and I think we are getting out of it, and getting out of it with some degree of vigor. And having learned how to deal with difficult times, I think most of us are a little better equipped to do a little better. Now, when I say that India is at an inflection point, I would like to elaborate that by referring to the following major factors. The most important one, according to me, is that government has recognized that it needs to do more than just leaving market forces having a free play. And it needs to do more to bring about India's transition to the frontiers of global technology and manufacturing. So it started with some intelligent programs. The PLI scheme is one of them, and some targeted attempts at getting investment into sunrise sectors, as well as supporting. So for me, it's very good news that smartphones will be assembled in India. One of the plans to contract manufacturing for Apple. Shipbuilding plant is about to take off in the country in the near future. We have a green hydrogen mission. We have our industrial houses getting excited about the new green economy. The other is that I think Indian technology developers, practitioners, and startups have come of age. So we are really seeing a dynamic culture emerging in this area where, say, 15 years back, we were rather weak. The third is the most important, according to me, and that is that globally, manufacturing is moving towards Industry 4.0, where IT and software are becoming increasingly embedded into all industrial products, their design and manufacturing, as well as the actual usage. And in this, I think we are again well positioned. So I think this is a time where India could genuinely dream of leapfrogging and also hopefully getting there. And by leapfrogging, I mean that you try and take advantage which comes to a late entrant. And if you look at the history of industrializing countries, the smart ones have been able to leapfrog and catch up very quickly and sometimes get ahead. So if you look at China, which was near us in 91 in terms of per capita income and technology, is now challenging the US in technology. You look at Japan before that or Korea around that time. So I think this could be our moment for taking off. But it will all depend on how well we get our act together and how well we forge creative partnerships between industry, government, and thought leaders, and calibrating our policies, programs in a moving the goalpost forward manner in the coming years, and have a vision of 10, 15 years in which we would like to get somewhere where we are on the global frontier. The green hydrogen economy is one example where we have displayed that ambition. If we look at the industrial horizon in this century, then it's all about sustainability. It is all about the green economy. It's all about the circular economy. And in each of these, we have the late movers advantage because all our investments have to take place now, and we can undertake smarter investments. And we have demonstrated this in certain areas. So for instance, our cement industry is the most energy efficient in the world, and primarily because our cement plants are recent ones, they're new ones. And new plants, if the investor is smart, would be technologically top of the line. I mean, I was quite surprised to learn that even in thermal electricity generation, we were the best in the world because we put up newer plants which were more efficient in terms of converting coal into electricity. So we can be on the frontiers of the new green, digital, circular economy if we get our act together and we work together with a higher degree of national ambition than we have shown till date. And here, the inputs from each one of you into the collective process of decision making and planning the journey forward and in calibrating and adjusting our approaches would be critical. This is one area where we have traveled a long way, but I think we still have to do a lot more to create genuine partnerships which are behind the door, constructive discussions between all the stakeholders on what is the right way to take the nation forward. I mean, whatever little I saw of each of the successful manufacturing giants in the world, whether it is Japan, Taiwan, Korea, China, Germany, each one has had a very efficient system of having good, constructive, intense closed-door discussions among all the stakeholders and agreeing on the right way forward. So I was pleasantly surprised to hear the German economics minister declare last summer that they will be global #1 in the hydrogen economy. And they have sanctioned, I think, 62 projects with 12 billion euros of government support to see that they are on the global frontier in each part of the supply value chain of the hydrogen economy. Koreans are attempting the same. The Chinese are attempting the same. So are the Japanese, who are the pioneers in the hydrogen economy. So my belief is that if we really get our act together, have meaningful, constructive stakeholder discussions and partnerships with government and with each other, I think we will begin catching up with China, and that should be our national goal. I believe in being ambitious, and I think if we are at par in 91 with them, we should think of catching up, and we can catch up. So all my good wishes to you, not only for those who are getting recognized today, but all those who have been part of this process, and to all the others who should be part of this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ajay Shankar. Always appropriate to start with a peek into the policymaker's mind, isn't it? Right, we now move on to an accolade that belongs to an achievement of the preceding year, with a further feather in the cap as the year went by. It is the only one categorized till date in the platinum zone and the top scorer of IMI 2020, and further went on to compete at the Global Kaizen Awards. During the course of this, it competed against top performing companies from countries such as the Netherlands, Germany, Poland, Mexico, even Hungary and Brazil, Spain and Chile, and went on to be a finalist. Eventually, some other company in South America won by a whisker, but this company came out on top as a finalist. I invite Mr. Jayant Murthy, Joint Managing Director, Kaizen Institute, SAIN, to deliver a brief narrative on the Global Kaizen Award. Mr. Murthy.
Good morning. Thank you very much. So I'm going to be very brief, very quick, and just put everything together that we probably believe in, we really practice, not just preach. And, I wanted to just start off sort of resonating what Mr. Grover is mentioning, and that's picking up a very profound statement, which is right here. I think this really encapsulates all of us, all our thoughts, all our efforts. And this is a phenomenal statement by Fujio Shaw, who talks about in Toyota, we build our people and our people build our cars. So it could be industry 4.0, it could be, a real explosion in terms of use of internet and emerging technologies. But I think people will always remain the center of excellence. What do you think? Yes or no? Yeah. So beyond doubt, it's about building people, and it's people who build processes, and it's processes which delivers excellence. So I think that's a very profound statement to start with. And I think coming from there, we believe that ultimately culture, is the key, right? I mean, we can have fantastic ambitions, we can have great strategies, but ultimately what we do on a daily basis really matters. And I just wanted to recollect and share with all of you what our chairman, Masaki Imai, refers to as culture. He says, every day, everyone, everywhere, people are engaged in finding problems and fixing problems. Every day, everyone, everywhere. But on a lighter note, unfortunately, you tell me whether it's true, the story in most organizations is someday, someone and somewhere, engaged in fixing problems, finding problems. If it is someday, someone, somewhere, just imagine there are thousands of companies in India where the story is no day, no one, and nowhere fixing any problems. So I think whether we belong to the bucket of no day, no one, nowhere, I'm sure none of us belong to that bucket here in this room. The journey is moving from there, and that's a challenge for all of us. When we work with our ecosystem, our suppliers, it's not just excellence in our organization, but we take responsibility for moving the ecosystem, helping our suppliers. And so they move along this path. That's extremely important. So culture, I think that's the key. And I'm reminded very quickly, I'll make a 20-second sort of example that comes to my mind is a couple of more than 15 years ago or 20 years ago, an American, very famous American company, very popular for breakfast cereals, came into India. And they had a very, they declared an intent. They said that we're going to change the breakfast culture of India. And that was their stated mission, objective. And they tried sincerely for about 20 years, but unfortunately, they could not bring in the cereals and move away the parathas and idlis, right? So culture is so strongly embedded. It is, it's very difficult to move it. It's worth building it. And once you build it, it's there for a long. We also, as Kaizen Institute, we asked a question, since we operate in about 60 countries for about 35 years. A question that we asked is, what do high performance companies have in common? I know we look at lots of organizations in India and we'll say, what is a common thread? What sort of holds all of them together? And since I have not too much time, but we found that the three Ps, what we call as, most of these high performance companies invest in building a proactive, people-based problem-solving culture. So when we really talk of culture, operational excellence culture, culture of lean or continual improvement, whatever, it's basically building your people who can, proactively find and fix problems. I think that will be the role. If you really go into, I don't know whether, I'm sure some of you must have heard of the Singularity University in America. And please look at some videos, especially about the future of work. And whenever I see that video on future of work, what is going to happen to your work, my work, 20 years, 30 years from now? Because anything that is repetitive will be taken over by machines. For example, drivers may not exist because you have driverless cars, right? So what will be the role of human beings? It will be problem solving, right? Assisted maybe by technology, but ultimately creativity, problem solving comes from people, you and me. So it is the culture that we're talking about is really proactive, people-driven, problem solving. That's the culture, and that's a real competitive advantage. Two companies may have precisely the same equipments. They may have the same products, the same raw material, the same tariffs when it comes to power, land cost, people cost. But what really sets one company apart is how they build their people to solve problems, to create, to be innovative. We believe that, I'm sorry to say this, we believe that even 100 or 1,000 Six Sigma projects will not change culture. What do you think? Yeah. We believe that dozens of spot Kaizens, we call them Rambo, Ha-Hu, doing a few TPM implementation here and, doing something here and there, it's not going to change culture. And very interesting, funny story is we were in one plant and we were talking to them and we said, yeah, we believe greatly in TPM. And so this is the machine on which we apply TPM. They said, very good. So we don't use this machine. So we make sure we spend all the time, to apply TPM on it, right? So real excellence is not about, doing projects. Projects will not build culture. Unfortunately, that's the hard reality, right? It's something more to it. And this is not going to build culture. And culture, I think, is the most important theme, the most important focus that all excellent companies have been focusing. People like you assembled in this room are focusing on. And based on these beliefs, it was the Kaizen Global Award was formulated almost 10 years ago. And we've been having participations from across 10 countries, over 500 applications, a lot of evaluations by the committee, and 200 plus winners over these years have sort of been recognized. And I just wanted to share with you what are the 5 key principles that we look at in the Global Kaizen Awards. And we call them the 5 principles. Number 1 is what we call as the Kaizen principles is creating customer value. I mean, we got to make sure that whatever we do, whatever processes we establish are focused on creating value for the customer. Let it flow. We call it Gemba Pantari. Gemba Pantari means keep it flowing. So it's all about flow, flow, flow. Kaizen is about flow. TPM is flow. If you use ERP, it should create flow. If you're not creating flow, please don't waste your time and money on anything, right? So it's all about flow and elimination of obstruction to flow. And I was just thinking when I landed here, Raghu told me that be careful. Monday morning, you may take even an hour or more from the airport to here, right? So if you are doing this at 9 o'clock on a Monday morning, probably it will take 1.5 hours. But if you did the same thing at 2 in the night, it will take probably 20 minutes because there's less obstruction to flow. Excellence is about eliminating obstruction to flow, right? And when we say that India is improving and we are improving in the ease of doing business, it basically means the flow has improved. We can get our job done faster. We go to get a license, recently I wanted an international driving permit, and it's all online. You played and it came into my post box, and I came home. I'm really surprised. Flow. Be Gemba oriented. Go to the Gemba. Don't get into the what we call as AC, CC, PC culture. Sitting in AC rooms, using PCs and sending CCs. So that's not the culture. We want a Gemba culture. Extremely important. Empower people, engage them. It is all about people. And finally, speak with data. Go to Gemba, get real data, smell the coffee and drive it. Don't drive Kaizen, don't drive improvements based on Excel sheets. That's the message. And the entire culture is built on these principles. So we have somebody, an organization, a leader representing the organization today, Mr. Kaniyappan, MD of WAPCO India. They have exhibited these principles. They have strived very hard to build this culture. And they were the nomination from India for the Global Award. And it's my absolute pleasure to request a small video on WebCo to be played now. If you can please bring that on. And after that, I will also request all your attention to an address by the CEO of the Kaizen Institute, the man who been part of this award, Antonio Costo. So we will have the video. Thank you. you can imagine the Gemba must be phenomenal, right? I mean, if you can see all this on a video. So thank you very much. Before I request for another video to be played, which is an address from the Global CEO of the Kaizen Institute, Antonio Costa, I just wanted to remind you again that the reason why we all are here is to recognize the fact, and I permit me to re-emphasize, it's not the tools, but it is the culture. And for example, we all use tools. I'm using a PowerPoint presentation, which is phenomenal. But we often forget that PowerPoint won't work unless you have an operating system, right? And many times, just because the operating system is silent and you can't see it, we tend to think that the tools are more important and powerful. It's the journey from this tool to transformation. Its tools are important, but it is the operating system, which is called culture, which is extremely important. So all the cases that we're going to see here, all the people representing the organizations here are the people who have believed and built that operating system. That's very important. So let's have now address by Mr. Costa. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Antonio Costa, and on behalf of everyone in Kaizen Institute, I would like to welcome all of you to today's 2021 IMEXI Award event. About a year ago, more than 1,000 people from all over the world was gathered online to assist to the Kaizen Global Award event, and had the chance to get to know the Kaizen journey of Labco. So let me please congratulate Mr. Kanyapan and Mr. Ravi Kumar for their excellent results achieved. The Kaizen Award is a great place to showcase the tremendous efforts of devoted organizations and how they strive to perform better. These last 2 years have been extremely difficult for many of us. We have been forced to adjust the way we live and work, learning how to do the same things better. And it was simply not good. It was simply not enough. We have to acquire the ability to adapt to the changes, and not only some conceptual benefits, but it has become a must-have ability for the companies striving for sustainable success. Let me remind some facts about your country, some facts about India. It is the 4th largest economy. It will be the 3rd in 2025 and the 2nd in 2050. It is the 5th largest economy nominal. ISRO is the 4th most successful and the 5th biggest space agency. We are trying to find conditions on Mars while we are devastating our planet. The country with most vegetarian people. It is the 3rd largest manufacturer of the world. It is the 2nd largest smartphone producer. It is the 4th largest car producer, the 2nd largest steel producer, and the 3rd largest electricity producer. 2nd largest textile producer, one of the best IT industry, more than 600 million internet users. 2nd rank in the world in doctors, in engineers, and in scientists. As you know, the world's top company CEOs are Indian, like in Google, in Microsoft, in IBM, in Pepsi, and many others. 17 out of the 20 fastest growing cities in the world are from India. Let's face the facts. So processes lead to results, and it is always possible to improve the processes. And that can lead us to the motto: performance first, recognition follows. My sincere congratulations to all nominated companies for their achievements in 2021. And finally, special thanks to everyone who is attending to this event today. And I'm certain that we will learn from them today and we will be greatly inspired. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Costa. Very good research. And let's, I think, put a round to get hands of applause for the research and for his address. So it's absolute pleasure, Mr. Kaniyappan, to please welcome you. And I request Mr. Grover to kindly come on the dais. And Mr. Kaniyappan, please join us. And it'll be our honor to present the citation. So yeah, you can please place it. I can take it. And thank you very much. And I request you to please. Thank you. Mr. Grover, Mr. Costa, dignitaries, various winners of the awards today, and the participants, Kaizen Institute members, Mr. Raghavendra Rao and his team, who did an excellent audit and gave a report to us, and everyone assembled here. So first of all, it's my honor and pleasure to receive this award on behalf of my entire team at Ambattur plant. I also would like to share this award with various senseis and the auditors and all of you who helped us to really understand the issues, problems, and help us to address. Thank you. Actually, the Kaizen model is something that actually is very much, I would say, in this part, at this point of time, it's very, very most appropriate in our framework to really, again, learn, implement, and sustain the culture of continuous improvement that continuously improves the value or customer value in the system while steadily and continuously reducing the losses on a day in and day out. We have started actually our journey of excellence as early as 1987 when we were Sundaram Clayton. But it's a journey. The audit was done by Kaizen Institute team from Mr. Raghavendra Rao, Mr. Bhaskar Raj, and Mr. Ravindra Singh. All of them came despite COVID during December 2020 and then audited and then gave an excellent feedback, which was again something that we always believe we have reached some point, but then when an auditor comes, you realize there are many, many areas we need to improve. So we are using this framework to continuously improve our system. I said our journey started in 1987 when we were Sundaram Clayton. Sundaram Clayton initially started, the pioneer in India to become the first company to win the Deming Prize in 1998. Later, we were the first to get the Japan Quality Medal in 2002. So essentially, the focus of our organization in the 90s, as Mr. Grover said, is to build a culture of continuous improvement driven by the total employee involvement culture. It's essentially culture that we were very initially focusing. It was not that easy. We went to Japan many times. At that time, we were having some involvement from Japanese manufacturing influence because we also had a joint venture with Suzuki Motor Corporation in the motorcycle business.
So we learned in the early part of our transformation, the culture of Kaizen or the continuous improvement, TA, etc. from Japan. But it took long time. Actually, we till even when we got the Deming Prize in 1998, only 60% of employee involvement was there. But then when you start moving into a continuous improvement culture, then after 2-3 years it became 100%, and thereafter the focus was sustaining. Also, our initial focus again was to put the company into a learning organization, continuous learning. So from the early 2000, of course, we had the pleasure of Ms. Sarita Nagpal visiting us, and then did an audit from a CA perspective also. CA also introduced the excellence awards, manufacturing excellence awards. So we were the first to get the gold award for manufacturing excellence. So later we also took support from Mr. Raghavendra Rao in his earlier organization. Again, put through multiple rounds of. This is a way of life in our system. A PDCA, continuously look at where you are and then set a target, work to a target, and improve. So that's a way we have been driving this organization. So after TQM essentially builds a very, a fertile ground to really on which you can plant anything. So we then later we focused on building a strong manufacturing engineering framework, a product development framework, TPM, lean, so that you have actually all these things that you're planting is essentially improving your competitive advantage in terms of cost, in terms of capability in building products, in terms of capability in designing your manufacturing systems. So we were very much honored to have some of the best global senseis like Professor Suda, Vasio, visiting us and guiding us throughout the journey. So this is the way, we call it as a journey of excellence. We reached a certain level. When 2008, the company became a part of a global network, WAPCO. So Sundaram Clayton Brakes division was, the majority, WAPCO took the majority position in that company. But then the WAPCO organization also realized that this is something very unique. You guys please continue and build this framework like that. So today, in 2008, we were not actually doing any export. Today, globally, in many areas, we are competitive. And few of the global products, we become the center of excellence. And we are actually almost a key pillar of WAPCO's global success in terms of product development, in terms of manufacturing systems. 40% of our production today we are exporting, and I believe we can continue this success because we have basically built a strong organization culture that continuously looks at how to create more value to the customers while continuously reducing the cost. But then it's not the end, like Mr. Grover said, excellence is it's a changing target. You don't sit down and then say you achieved at any stage. So now we realize still our labor productivity and asset productivity, etc. Still we are not globally competitive. We see a huge opportunity to really improve our labor productivity because still ours is largely driven by the manual work. So again, our main current focus is to drive the industry 4.0 and analytics systems in the organization to reach a productivity level that is as comparable to or better than what is being done elsewhere. Actually, I want to just recall the message Mr. Ajay Shankar was saying. India is actually in an inflection point. I also genuinely feel it's an inflection point with COVID providing a lot of opportunity to really, because of the difficulties of the global supply chain, India plus China plus one approach is giving a good opportunity for India to position. I'm talking more from my perspective, but I think it's applicable to all industries. Plus, government is launching the production linked incentive schemes WAPCO also has been selected as one of the component champions to be to take advantage of this. But then the key aspect here is our productivity levels are not as good as what it is supposed to be elsewhere. We need to really, a McKinsey report says that Indonesia itself is two times productive than labor productivity wise. India, China and South Korea already 4 times. Their productivity is 4 times than India, particularly within those industries in a specific segments like electronic manufacturing. I believe they're 15 times better productivity than India. Chemical, in certain specialty certain areas of chemical manufacturing, South Korea is 30 times more productive. So a long way to go for us to really reach to become a globally competitive locations and make India as a hub of manufacturing for global requirements. But that is where this framework helps. It's a journey. So let us take the journey. I would like to again wish and congratulate all the participants of this program to actually become a global hub of manufacturing and become a major contributor of India's growth. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kaniappan. I want to also say a nice thank you to Mr. Jayant Murthy and Mr. Vinod Grover for handing over that award. Please put your hands together for WAPCO, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. May I now request Mr. Raghavendra Rao, CEO Kaizen Hansei, to delve on the methodology and the observations during the assessments of the course of IMI 2021. Mr. Raghavendra Rao, give him a big hand, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon. Yeah, I think I'm the last man standing between the handover of the medallions and the session in the morning. So I'll be pretty bullet point brief about this session so that we can get on to the core ideal planning that we are here for. First things first, so I'll try and keep it short, maybe just in 2-3 minutes, and I'll just highlight on the critical points that we emphasize whenever we go onto the site or the team goes onto the site. First, for us, it's responsibility is the ability to remain credible. Whatever we do, it will remain credible, and we will ensure that when a company is recognized for IMI, the public will, in all sincerity, stand up and clap their hands. So that's what we are committed to. And secondly, like Antonio told, performance comes first and recognition follows automatically. So the only way a company can get the recognition is if it performs, no other way. Second, we are Gemba oriented. No virtual assessments for us. Gemba is king, and whichever assessments we have done, be it in the COVID year or the second wave, or in the middle of the third wave, it has always been Gemba oriented. And at this juncture, I think I really feel the need to request all of you to kind of, I would say, applaud all the companies that had the courage to entertain a physical audit. I think, and that's where I really, would like to acknowledge each and every company which has participated, whether they are qualified or not qualified, whether they have got a, platinum or the gold or silver. I think I would like to really, applaud them for having even decided to go for it. Yep. So I think that shows a lot about their confidence in their systems and in their ability to maintain and sustain the excellence that they have, been standing for. Coming to the model which we assess now, this must be a pretty repetitive slide for most of you over here. So I'll be only focusing on one fact, that if you see on the right side, besides all the other major parameters, the one single thing which I would like to point out is 50% marks are given to what we see on the shop floor. That is the 500 on the right side against process excellence, which includes lean, asset care, quality, support unit, and lean supply chain. And 50% of the marks is given to those peripheral activities and procedures that you conduct in the shop floor, which renders your excellence sustainable. So all those things done by the board members, by the senior management, by the mid management, and also the fact what is done in the shop floor by the shop floor management, and the results, variance analysis and the feedback loop, all that is given another 50% marks. So, and this is the reason why we say that whatever zone of qualification that you get is valid for 2 years, because we are fairly confident that once you get a particular zone, we are very sure that you will not cascade to a lower level in the next 2 years. So that's why we say it's valid for 2 years. So with that, yeah, this is the kind of score what got given to each one of you. This is a sample. And each one of you, each one of the qualifying and the non-qualifying sites have been given a detailed feedback report, actionable feedback report, and implementable feedback report. We have also identified projects that we feel would be of use for you to consider mull over. And we would hope that after we left, after the team left, you would have internally deliberated and decided which part of it you need to consider, which part of it, you need to defer, and action these improvement projects in in your internal organizations. The radar has been given to all, and of course, the more round the radar, the more system driven the organization, and I think that is the interpretation which would have complemented the larger understanding that wherever you're scored low would be a point for improvement. So the rounder the better. Last year, like we are all known, so not last year, in 2020, WAPCO qualified in the platinum zone, and they went on to become a finalist at the Global Kaizen Awards, which of course Antonio did not say in so many words, but the countries are like literally Brazil, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Poland, Portugal, Spain, Mexico, and Chile. So the best of the lot competed, got nominated, and then we had the finalists and we had the winners. So that's where WAPCO's success comes in from. Lastly, before I kind of hand over the stage back to Frazier, we are going to make a shift going forward. Of course, we have made some minor shifts on the smart manufacturing and on the safe manufacturing program, but we will be moving away from the metallurgical nomenclature of the medallions to something which is more based on the excellence maturity framework. So we'll be, because well, frankly, I think this is doing justice to the effort of people. Why should we say that silver or gold or just an afterthought, which all of us, along with Mr. Grover and Sashi and all, mulled over. So it will be called as commendation certificate at the at the starting level, then going on to the EMI commitment prize, then the EMI distinguished prize, then the EMI apex prize, and finally the EMI India icon. So that's going to be the nomenclature going forward. And with that, I hope I kept my promise for a brief interjection between you and the commencement of the certificate of merit. So thank you very much for your time, and look forward to your continued participation and support going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rao. And now on to them. We now commence with the announcement of the Certificate of Merit. A Certificate of Merit is accorded to sites that have demonstrated a strong commitment to the cause of operational excellence. They've proven to be worthy disciples of the purpose, keen to learn, keen to implement, ever willing to give an ear and ever enthusiastic to roll up their sleeves and get into action. It is only a matter of time before they mature on their journey to excellence. To do the honors, may I please invite Mr. Raj Deepak Chatterjee, Vice President, Corporate Business Excellence, Automotive and Farm Equipment Sectors at Mahindra & Mahindra Limited, and Mr. Gopinath Prabhu, Director and Head Operations, Kaizen Institute SAIN, to please come on stage. Persistence, they say, is the twin sister of excellence. One is a matter of quality, the other a matter of time. but 3 sites qualified for the certificate of merit to be termed as commendation certificates going forward from 2022. This is a recently acquired unit by an Indian multinational giant in the agrochemicals space. Being a part of its new organization, the plant is abuzz with construction work with respect to adding capacity and products in the near future. The staff is one of the few who readily admitted their eagerness to learn and scale up the ladder of excellence. And they meant it. This certificate is a deep appreciation of their passion for becoming lean and being open to learning how to get there. This certificate belongs to Plant 51 of United Phosphorus Limited, Arista Life Sciences. Team Arista and Mr. Mukesh Chaubey, Mr. Patel, under the able guidance of Mr. APS Bhatia. Congratulations. Congratulations. Would you like to say a few words?
Good morning, all. So myself, Mukesh Chaubey, and I'm from UPL team. We started this journey since COVID period, and we discussed with the Raghvendra sir as well. We will not stop any of the excellence journey and operational excellence related work, because in this COVID period, what we understood that only these things can save us. Lot of many accidents happened in the past because of the non-productive activities or because of the non-commitment of our staff members at the site during the maintenance activities. So operational excellence required to meet future challenges and to pass such type of COVID issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chaubey, and congratulations to Arista Life Sciences. The next one, this is a unit down south that is the manufacturer of small and mid-sized tractors and comes from a group that is a dominant manufacturer of tillers. The strategic focus and foray into large tractors, and that too with international brands, is timely. This is a part of the strategy to achieve the 5X vision that has been set in motion by its dynamic leadership team. We also appreciate the vision because it gives a long-term focus to the entire organization. This is complemented by early-level transformational changes being effected by experienced personnel in key functions, including production and NPD. At a shop floor level, the commitment and compliance of workers to what is needed to be done is pretty much appreciated. We wish this facility all the very best. This is the Hosur unit of VST Tillers Tractors Private Limited. Inviting Mr. Binod Sridhar and Mr. Akash Somkuwar on stage. Would you like to make your 30-second acceptance speech?
Audit, we were thinking we were doing great. But during the audit, we found there were a lot of gaps. Then we started working on the gaps. Basically, our organization is very old organization. We have 40 years, we are into this process of making tillers and tractors. But now the organization is revamped. We have taken certain target. We set a target of 5X leadership under Mr. Anthony is our CEO. So we have taken all the projects and we are set to bounce back to the industry. Thank you and wish you all the best.
Congratulations to VST Tillers Tractors Private Limited. Thank you, Mr. Sridhar, for your speech. The third one, ladies and gentlemen, this is a compliant organization with good basics in place and the compliance for meeting customer needs. Its future plans are also well aligned to aspirations, and we hope they do all that is needed to achieve it. The effort by the R&D to constantly upgrade and customize products and launch new products is commendable. The effort to implement the paperless office and the digitization of operating checklist is impressive. The vision of digitalization roadmap appears to be comprehensive and one that addresses most of the present concerns and futuristic aspirations. With an attrition ratio of below 3% and job rotation and effective succession planning, headed by a dynamic leadership team, we are sure that all this would be achieved successfully. That this unit would once again become one to reckon with in a short span of time is our conviction. We are referring to Shibora Machines India Private Limited in Chennai. May I request Mr. Velayuthan to please come on stage. I beg your pardon, Mr. M. Kumar is, yes.
Good afternoon, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. My name is M. Kumar. I am the Managing Director of Shibora Machine India Limited. This designation of Managing Director given by the company and its management. I have re-designated myself as CEO of this company, Chief Enabling Officer. This is the job I designated as a day in, day out activity. And this is the word I have taken from a recent book published by one of the authors, which I felt it is very suitable to me. Thank you very much. And this is, as all the earlier speaker told, it is a continuous journey and moving target. And we are very happy to be part of this journey. Thank you. And wish all the other people also. Thank you.
Congratulations to Shibora Machines India Private Limited, Mr. M. Kumar, Chief Enabling Officer, as he said. And thank you, Mr. Rajdeepak Chatterjee and Mr. Gopinath Prabhu for coming up to give away those awards. I now request Mr. Vijay Kalra to address us with his perspectives on the economy, its revival, the impending growth expected, and the wise caution to be exercised. Mr. Kalra is the head of Mahindra Institute of Quality, the Group Corporate Office, leadership team, and member of the Central Safety Council, former ED and CEO at MVML and Chief of Manufacturing Operations, Automotive Division. He had earlier worked in General Motors, Daewoo Motors, Ashok Leyland, and the Toyota Motor Corporation. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Mr. Vijay Kalra.
Good morning, friends. And first of all, thank you, Mr. Rao, for giving this opportunity, along with Kaizen Hansei, Kaizen Institute. Thank you all. Let me share some thoughts. And yesterday night, I just tried to put some thoughts together, and that's why. And then I just SMS to Mr. Rao that against 8 minutes, can I take 10 or 12 minutes? And he said, okay, so please be ready to bear me a bit longer than what I thought earlier. First of all, congratulations to all those who are rewarded today. And more than that, to all those who decided to take this journey, whether they get reward today or no, I think it's fine. Now, I think COVID times and then before, and now Russia-Ukraine war and many things happening around the world, no, have really made the country to think on those word Atmanirbhar. And let me try to talk about that. So I think it's, I will divide this talk into 5 parts. One is, what do we mean by Atmanirbhar? At least what do I mean by Atmanirbhar? Do we need to dream differently? Do we need to act differently? Or what is that we need to do? Third, as a country, I think Mr. Ajay Shankar already spoke, why we have a good chance to be successful. Then let me talk a bit about hobbies. And if the time permits, I will just talk about Mahindra journey, a recent journey. So let me talk about Atmanirbhar. I feel it is all about globally competitive. If we are not globally competitive, then all this discussion and talk has no value. No, I mean, we can't stand tall. No, and at least sound, sustainable supply chain for essential requirements of the country. Okay, just imagine current situation: defense system with dependability on Russia, okay. Pharma industry with huge dependence on intermediate supply, okay, which I think has been addressed to a large extent, but still. Talk about solar power with solar panels coming from China. Discussions around EV with battery system coming from overseas and semiconductor dependence on the world. And then when it comes to energy, 80% dependence on the world. Okay, I think all these make us to think. And then we have some certain things which are not going right. No, I mean, we just heard Mr. Kenyapan talking about WAPCO, 40% export and standing tall. No? We have gem polishing, I mean, whole Surat from ages doing it, okay, and doing value addition. We have two-wheeler companies, no, really ruling the world. And when Kaizen Institute chairman was talking about Kaizen Award, this thing, and they were talking about India first. I think we forget that as tractor, we are #1 in the world, and Mahindra is the #1 tractor company of the world, not from now, but 2005 onwards. What we need to do is we have to reimagine ourselves and reinvent and remain relevant. I think it's all about mindset. It's mindset of playing to win. I missed watching till date that movie 1983 and the remark of Kapil Dev that why we are here. The answer by a captain of a team with almost zero chance saying that we are here to win. Okay, you can't play for a draw. Okay, those days of 5-day matches are gone. No, when we used to start and after 2 hours, the whole country was struggling that can rain help us? Can some baller be there who can ball without giving run for 15 hours? 15 hours? Can we have somebody who can be on the pitch but not really playing? Okay, no. I don't feel we have a chance for players who are not trying to win. And especially recent world. Okay, I think there was discussion about 1991 onwards and current situation. Either you won or you're not there. Okay, there is nothing like I will have my safe place. No, so either play or leave the crease. No. So what is so different? What do we need to really think differently or behave differently? First is we need to raise our ambition. I'm really get worried that if somebody comes with a target, even if you achieve, you are not there. You were good. You were a poor number 3 or number 4 or number 2, and now you have become a relatively better number 2. How does it make difference to customer? Okay, there was some discussion that with same resources, some companies doing like, I will not name, but look at aviation industry, 5-6 players, same 2 companies making aeroplanes, same ground staff, same other staff, same customer. Some does exceptionally better than others. What is so different? It's all about people. I think we have to change our mindset from always a follower to be a leader. We have all the reasons to be leader. I mean, I don't find anything what is different in Japan which we don't have. Okay. Next is a tendency to do what we can do and do incrementally more than what we were doing yesterday. No, I think thought has to be what we need to do and then resource around that. Okay. That will change the whole thing. No, I mean, first set your target, what you want to be. Again, I will emphasize on target to win. I mean, if you reach there, then you are the leader. You become unbeatable. And then you need a mission type approach. This thought of let me not, we will do it after 3 months, this we will do after 6 months, this we will do after. No, China has taught time is today, either today or no way. So commitment, levels, rigor, agility, boldness, and on top of speed. We all were brought up with a story of rabbit and tortoise. No? Study and what is that? Slow and steady wins the race. I can understand study. I can't believe slow is the right word. Okay. I don't feel, I mean, with the world changing so fast, you can't really talk 5 years, 10 years, 30 years. No. So I think even the storytelling has to change now slowly. Okay. I mean, storytelling has to move towards the Japanese thought of gambatte kudasai. Yeah, if you are going, go and do hard work. Not mothers telling that how you can escape work. No, how can we sitting and hope and, at home and running the factories? No, I mean COVID times or no COVID times. 95% have to be physically there on the spot to run the show. So why we five have to sit? I think I heard Mr. Nair talking about AC. What was that second? PC and CC. Okay, I mean those things don't work. No. And we have to move with the thought of sustaining and moving up every day. I think this name today is this thing, no? Kaizen Hansei. Okay, if you really read the words, no, Hansei is, I mean, I read yesterday, what does that mean? I mean, it means that we get into it and we see what is missing and we do it. And we do it every day. Every day evening when we leave our work, okay, a bit of reflection, what I could have done better, okay, will take us to this thing. And then, I mean, we need to balance between efficiency and effectiveness. All thoughts, what we had in engineering were about efficiency. I think it's all about making things different. Okay, somewhere we may have to do compromise also. Now, why we stand a good chance? I think 3 things are required along with people, no, for a society to excel. One is energy. Okay. But we always prayed sun, no? Okay. Good rains. We have monsoon. We get 4 to 5 times what we need. Okay. And fertile land. If you have all these three thinkings, you are very safe. You have to build on that. Only thing what we have to learn is we have to harness. Just assume in 1965s or 70s, if oil or crude was not invented, was not found in deserts, no. Maybe the whole economy would have been around sun and we would have been leaders. Yeah, every day morning, हम तो चढ़ते सूरज को रोज नमस्कार करते हैं. Why can't we harness it? 1 hour of energy enough to run the world for 1 year. So we have the answers. Only thing is we have to find this thing. Difficult to believe. We are leaders in renewable. Leave France, okay? Atomic power. Otherwise, we stand very tall. 13, 14, 15% of renewable energy with us in the country. Okay. Even when world is talking about the country which is moving is India and making it happen. Okay. In Mahindra, I have plants, machine shop plants with 48 to 52% on renewable, okay, which changed in last 3 years. So lot can be done. Okay. And on top of it, we have brain power. Okay. So how do we do it now? When I was in college or something, on work motion, we talked about Taylor and Gilbert, this thing, no? That was all about limbs. But person has the biggest power here. Okay. Its passion comes from heart. Okay. We never talked about 130 crores, brains and heart, no? And that's where we are 10 times of Japan or 12 times of Japan. We have to look at what is our strength, and that's what. I think there was some discussion on invest on people. Okay. I think 2005 when Mahindra, I don't remember, I think Mr. Devasia was leader, and when they took a call that we will become world leaders, largest producer of tractor, the first thing was invest on people. Invest on all what is being talked today. Okay. Invest on technology, facilities which, if not filled, will keep us number 2. We have built one of the best paint shops in the world. No? I'm sure it is best in Asia. When we went for a new paint shop, we thought 50% increase, 100% more productivity with 50% people, 100% more energy, okay, and 60% improved gloss and all those things, so quality. And we built around that. First, we decided this is where we want to reach, and then we were building. We are not saying that we were here and these are the problems, we take it there. No. Work on lean. Okay. And then we have all the reasons to be successful because IoT, Industry 4.0, AI, machine learning, who is going to implement around the world? Our guys. So if they can implement around the world, why not in India? Okay. So answer is improve, improve, improve. One thing which always bothers, we respect people who are knowledgeable. Yes, we must respect. Okay. But knowing and doing sometimes can be different. Okay. I think we have to respect who bring difference. I just heard first performance, then recognition. Okay. Not that your pedigree talks big, so you are great. No, results should talk back. So we should really encourage guys who have knowledge. Even sometimes if you don't have knowledge, you can buy it. You can get somebody to help you. But that resolve to do things makes difference. And last, let me take 2 more minutes. Mahindra Auto story. Today we stand tall. XUV 700, Thar, XUV 300, new Bolero, and coming SUV, which will change this thing. But when we look back, what was there? In 2000, we were really worried as an organization. I mean, this is what our leaders tell us. And any journey needs intent and resolve, but these two things were there. Our core purpose and core values define where we need to go, destination and direction. Core purpose, just if you read it, we will challenge conventional thinking and innovatively use resources to drive positive change in the lives of stakeholders. Okay, innovation comes from people who are around. And then if we say top core values, professionalism, good corporate citizen, customer first, quality focus, dignity for individuals. Okay, customer first and quality focus defines where you want to be, and dignity for individuals decide that we will invest in people to take it there. Then our tenants, that Mahindra Rise tenants, accepting no limit, alternate thinking, drive positive change. This defines the how journey. So we had destination, we had direction, and we had how. Okay. So first step was in 2003 or 4, we felt that we are not there. So we looked at our processes. We got people who understand automobile more than what they were today. Looked at facilities, do some correction. Okay. After correction, the answer was that directionally right, but still far. Then second was reinforce. Reinforce your design development, entire value chain. New technical center at MRV, PD team at product development team in Detroit, latest test track, new manufacturing facility at Chakan, joining hands with Samyang, Parent Finina, and all those things. Resulted in XUV 50. Good. Still far, far away from enough. And that was the time we got into mission type of approach. What we call Crusade, later we called Crusade 1.0 and 2.0. And that was that entire organization, all functions, all people will work on first time right, every time right, and delightful customer experience. Okay. Entire value chain, whether it was supplier, whether it was dealer. And later, after some success, we came with 2.0, because what we found was we are doing same things, but doing better. We are offering same answers, but doing better. And then we said, first time right, every time right, and differentiated customer experience. We'll give you something different, something which will be Mahindra. And here we are. Now the biggest risk, I think there was some talk on that this journey of excellence is never ending. So the biggest worry, you're there, but you don't know who is looking for that place. How do we keep on doing great? And that comes again from picking people's brain and getting into that continuous improvement culture. Some big things, some small things, and keep on doing this. Thank you very much. Just wanted to share some of experience which I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kalro. Very insightful indeed, and an apt start to announcing the medals. Moving on to the silver medallion winners, and we have 9 of these. Having displayed a high level of maturity in their systems and processes, these companies qualified in the silver category. We appreciate and acknowledge their commitment towards building world-class manufacturing facilities and wish them all the best in their endeavors along the lean journey. To do the honors, I would like to invite Mr. Y.A. Chaudhary, COO, Medrick Meiji Group, and Mr. Nitin Sonar, Vice President and Head Operations Biostat. Thank you, gentlemen. And now on to hand over these 9 beauties. The first of them, manufacturers of phosgen-based agrochemicals. This plant has achieved 3x sales growth in the past 2 years and has increased the plant's capacity utilization by 2.5x during the same period. The site leadership has challenged the status quo and delivered impressive business results consistently for the past 3 years. Ladies and gentlemen, the silver medallion goes to the Unit 4 of UPL Limited Halol. UPL Halol team, please occupy your place on the stage. May I request Mr. Vinod Singh to receive the medallion on behalf of the Halol unit head. Please come, gentlemen. And 30 seconds of your acceptance speech.
Good afternoon, friends. I dedicate this award to the all professional working in UPL Unit 4. And they are doing very hard work, and the continued support from the management they are getting. And we are dreaming for that one of the bigger units, this can be converted in coming 3 years. We are having the growth plan, we are the learning, we are the dreaming, and we are the improving ourselves. We are competing with ourselves, and we have that dream to become #1 in the world. And certainly we will be by 2027, that is our target. And we are working with the speed also. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations. And moving on to the second of these, this is an auto component manufacturer in the East. The enthusiasm and commitment of most of the teams towards learning and operational excellence is commendable. Information and data were freely provided in the right spirit and in the right format. Coming from the automotive background, deliveries need to happen in time and with the right quality. And that is something that this plant has been consistently providing, especially coming from the impeccable pedigree. Ladies and gentlemen, we're referring to the Jamshedpur unit of WAPCO India, part of the ZF group. Mr. Gururaj and his team, please come on stage.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. We at Jamshedpur, as a WAPCO India, this thing, we were audited last year by Mr. Raghavendra Rao and Mr. Gopinath, actually. And we were able to learn a lot many things. What we were thinking, we were doing the best, actually. And after this audit, we were able to implement the findings and the gaps what we had, and also we are trying to follow our mother plant in Chennai. We got a Platinum Award for the audit last year, actually. So we are trying to challenge the higher goals the coming year, and we would like to achieve the best in this industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much and congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Chaudhary, and thank you, Mr. Sonar, for coming on stage to give away those medallions. To do the honors for the next two medallions, I would like to invite on stage Mr. S.M. Mudda, Managing Director, MISOM Labs, Malta, and Chairman of Regulatory Affairs, IDMA, and Dr. Sarita Nagpal, Partner, Kaizen Institute. Give them both a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this engineering unit of an Indian multinational has a near monopolistic status in the domestic market and has an increasing market share in the same. It has also started to give a tough fight to its global rivals and is an avid disciple when it comes to adopting and innovating its products with newer technologies and features. The facility has a highly capable design team that complements the effort to gain more market share. The effort to estimate man hours of work in a job shop environment is commendable and something which gives them visibility on the productivity and manpower utilization. Yes, we are referring to the rubber processing machinery division of Larsen and Toubro located at Kanchipuram. Mr. Ravi Venkatachari and team, please come on stage.
Good afternoon. Myself, Ravi Venkatachari from L&T Rubber Processing Machinery. On behalf of our entire team at Kanchipuram, very proud to accept this award. This is the first time we are participating in this IMEXI award. And Mr. Raghavendra Rao and Mr. Basavaraj were the assessors. And we got a lot of points for improvement, for which we have formed the task force and going ahead with the action plans. So also very proud to state that this is our golden jubilee year of our unit. We have completed 50 years about 10 days back. The same year, India is completing 75 years of independence. So a very proud moment for us. And excellence is always a part of our journey. It's a continuous journey at our place. And we have about 12 improvement initiatives, people-oriented, as Mr. Grover said, that everything is people and the culture. So we have interwoven it, these improvement initiatives among the people, and with the digitalization, the shop floor initiatives, and the innovation in design. It was mentioned that we are the only players in domestic market, but now in export also, we are an emerging force. And the current year, we are looking at doubling our business. That is the order book that we have, and emerging close to number 2, number 3 in the export business also. So congratulations to the other winners too. It's been an exciting journey for us, and I wish and hope it has been the same for others also. And wishing all the others all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. And moving on to the fourth of these awards, this manufacturing facility located in the serene industrial town of Baddi manufactures pharmaceutical products for Indian and other non-regulated markets. This facility imbibes possibly one of the highest levels of GMP compliance. Use of digital technologies like smart utilities, TrackWise, LMS, LIMS are quite evident, and the corporate team has a well-defined digital transformation roadmap. Ladies and gentlemen, this silver medallion goes to the Baddi unit of Cipla Limited. Mr. Ashwin Upasane, Mr. Sunil Kumar, and Mr. Abhinav Sood. Could you please come on stage to receive your medallion?
Thank you so much. In the pursuit of excellence, I would say we should start teaching Kaizen even to our kids. Believe me, it works. I started teaching my daughter, and she is giving me more Kaizens than what I do at my site. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Mudda and Dr. Nagpal, for stepping on stage to present those medallions. To do the honors for the next set of 3 medallions, I would like to invite on stage Mr. M. Kumar, CEO Shibora Machines India Private Limited, Mr. Kumaradevan Srinivasan, Group President, Manufacturing at the Kalpataru Power and Transmissions Limited. Please give them a big hand, ladies and gentlemen. This company, located in Aligarh, is one of the finest examples of a successful turnaround of an organization after takeover. Turning around a site known for IR issues during acquisition into a highly engaged and motivated team with healthy financials within a short span of 2 years is impressive. The involvement of the leadership team across the functions by implementing various lean manufacturing tools, improving manufacturing efficiencies, and optimizing costs is clearly evident. Ladies and gentlemen, this silver medallion goes to the Aligarh unit of Zydus Limited. May I request Mr. Himanshu Pandey, Vice President Manufacturing, Zydus Wellness Product Limited, and Site Head Aligarh, Mr. Umesh Kalra, with his team to please come on stage.
Good afternoon. At Zydus Wellness, we manufacture top brands of its category like Complan, Glucon-D, Sugar Free, Nycil, Your Youth, and Neutralite. So we believe that to be competitive in the market, only continuous improvement, raised benchmarks, and strategic lean integrated manufacturing can help you for the future. I thank Kaizen Hansei and team for their in-depth detailed assessment and guiding our team that we're really where we are and how we can improve further in our operational excellence journey. Thank you very much.
Now, the next one, this auto component unit located in Aurangabad demonstrates one of the most aggressive and impressive implementations of TPM. The focus and trigger of TPM was evidenced in the shop floor, and most data was up to date with a regular process of ensuring that the practice and data are both updated. The deployment of breakthrough projects was amply seen in the shop floor, and this was possible because of a very high degree of involvement of top and middle management, which is commendable. The business and its stakeholders seem to be on the right path with manufacturing and design doing significant work to delight existing customers. We are referring to the Aurangabad unit of Budway Autocoms Private Limited. Mrs. Supriya Budway and Mr. Vijay Kasturi and team, please come on stage. May I request Mrs. Supriya Budway to make an acceptance speech and also address the gathering. And meanwhile, thank you, Mr. Kumar and Mr. Kumaradevan Srinivasan, for stepping on stage to give away those medallions.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Mr. Grover and Mr. Costa. And thanks to Mr. Raghavendra Rao and Mr. Nitin for their valuable assessment for our Aurangabad unit. I accept this award on behalf of my team of Polymer Division. I just want to share with you a journey of Badway Engineering Limited. It was very humble beginning at Badway Engineering Limited. We started with proprietorship. Mr. Shrikant Badwe has started this business in 1989 with a mere turnover of 1 lakh rupees. And it was very challenging journey at that time. So during this journey, yes, we have many challenges related to finance, arranging finance, because we know that finance is the most important part for establishing any business. So and then the dependability on the customer delight, performance, right people at right time. I'm heading HR of my group. As of now, started with say one proprietary unit at Aurangabad. Today we have 30 plants and presence in 7 states in India. We are now exporting to JLR unit also in UK and JEC. And performance and quality is our major focus. So during this whole journey, the organization has grown vertically and we have faced many challenges. First, related to management of white collar people, or maybe we can say equally we were concerned about blue collar people management. Today, we have almost 20,000 blue collar people working with our industry. And yes, during these challenges, we have always tried to find innovative ways how we can address these challenges, how we can accommodate different ideas from our people, our middle management or maybe senior management, and how we can grow together. So the other part which we are facing, because as of now we have 40 customers like Bajaj, Tata Motors, Honda, Mahindra. So we are dealing with various customers, and today the situation is that the market is fluctuating, whereas various dynamism is there in market, and we all are living in VUCA world. So how then we thought how we can find out the solution to all these problems. And just to share with you all, in Badway Engineering Group, we have now as our core value. So we work on now is to be response, to take action immediately. So whenever problems are there, we just think it immediately. We try to find out good solution, good action and good action plan, and to have good communication upward and downward. And this is the way we just try to achieve these solutions for any problems in our industry. So technology, automation, industry 4.0, these are our integral parts of our day-to-day factory activity. And TPM is a philosophy of our industry. I myself lead TPM for our industry. We have here Mr. Kasture. He's a colleague and he's part of our TPM steering committee, with other 2 members, Mr. Sorge and Ms. Kalyani. So we all are, of course, and our MD is a leader for this whole drive. And we are trying to really achieve TPM, a way of life in our day-to-day activity. So learning what we learned out of TPM, that we must have the learning aptitude. We must learn, because now today various tools are available with us. Maybe that may be lean manufacturing, that may be Six Sigma, that may be now JIPM is there to drive us. Today we have I may say, so these all people, they are just there. And if yes, if we learn from them, if we try to bring some culture and philosophy based on the learnings what we getting during this audit process, it always help us, and it would have helped us, and it will help us for your for our further journey. I feel that entrepreneurship is really a very good, much challenge for each person. So as per me, an entrepreneur die every day, and he comes out every day. So maybe for to learn more about that entrepreneurship, what I started is we have land in Talegaon, and being we have some agricultural land, we applied for some floriculture in project in Talegaon. And then I started that passionately, because to connect with nature was my passion. And then in 2010, I have started high-end floriculture units. And today, just I want to share with you, it's something different. It's a very soft part of the industry. And there I have grown 2 lakhs of roses, and we are exporting to Japan from that floriculture unit. So learning always gives us a best way to progress, to grow in overall life and industry. As a mother, I always find there are two things we must look into is work-life balance. Because even though we are growing, we are emerging, and we are contributing to country's economic growth, but family also matters a lot for all of us. And we must be as entrepreneurs, or maybe because I'm a great follower of Indra Nui, and she also always focuses on that, how we can have work-life balance, and how we can give more equal focus on family systems also, so that we can create a healthy citizens for our country and at a global level. So for me, success is all about where you were yesterday and where you are today. So competing with others is one part, but competing with yourself is more important. And to grow in that way is the most important thing for me. I congratulate all of you for being here, and thanks for patience listening. It's very inspiring today that after 2 years of COVID, we are coming together, and we are in new normal. So thank you so much for this patience listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Supriya Badwe, for gracing the occasion. I'm still trying to feel the energy in the place. By show of applause, how many of you are at the Trident today? Come on, show me. Lovely. Let us see if by show of animal sounds, how many of you are here to support the initiatives of the Kaizen Institute? Dr. Supriya Badwe just spoke about being one with nature. Okay, clearly there is a very silent representation of the human pedigree here. But give yourselves a bigger round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. Lovely. To do the honors for the next set of 3 medallions, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Willem Oyen, Executive Director, Supply Chain Hindustan Lever Limited, and Mr. Y.S. Shashidhar, Advisor Dubal Holdings and Advisor Kaizen Hansei. Please give them a big hand as they come on stage, ladies and gentlemen. The next silver, the biggest strength of this organization is the brand equity of the products manufactured here. The iconic brand Sugar Free is referred to as a synonym of sugar substitute amongst Indian consumers. Needless to say, the brand dominates the market with a share in excess of 90%. What impresses the most is that despite the dominant market share, the continuous focus is on new products and variants and molecules with an objective of growing category size and thereby ultimately adding top line. Various projects to reduce changeover time and Kaizens to improve efficiency, productivity, add to the competitiveness of the site. Ladies and gentlemen, this 7th silver medallion goes to the Mamring unit of Zydus Cadilla. May I request Mr. Himanshu Pandey and his team to please occupy your place on stage. Congratulations. All right, moving on. With a strong focus on management of manufacturing excellence and an ably supportive and agile team to execute, this wire and cable division impresses with 10 to 12% sales growth in the last 2 years and a 4 to 5% volume growth even during the pandemic, and despite being largely dependent on the Kerala and Karnataka region. The unit has been consistently ensuring higher inventory turns, better than the competitors. Backward integration for PVC, the raw material, and thereby ensuring consistent quality and availability of raw material, exemplifies the futuristic vision of the management. Ladies and gentlemen, this 8th silver medallion goes to the Chavadi unit of WeGuard Industries Limited, the wires and cables division. Mr. Satyanarayanan R and team, please come on stage. Please give them a big hand, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon. We are from WeGuard Industries Wires and Cable Division, Coimbatore. In Q3 of this financial year, when our corporate top management has advised us to take this opportunity in participating IMXC assessment, our situation was already our 2 eyebrows were in rising condition. When we heard this information, my team went like Dwayne Johnson, the Rock, raising 1 eyebrow. How it's possible in this situation? Because one side, the pandemic uncertainty in the market, my employees got affected. So how to do this? And secondly, we are running a green and brownfield project. Massive project was going on in the same campus where we manufacture. So we believed in our people, and as Hansei also say, this sustainability in excellence. We believed in that, and we went for this assessment. And thank you for the IMXC team to accept this assessment in this pandemic situation. They've done a great job, and it was a very challenging assessment and very thought-provoking and very useful. We have already started to implement the points, the focus areas, the projects which they have identified. And one more noteworthy point is during the pandemic, once the market opened, there was a sudden surge in requirement. So through our operational excellence, which we practiced for many years, it has helped us to showcase to the top management that through operational flexibility and all other pillars in this excellence has been done, and it is successfully we supported our market, fulfilling and we are getting the customer delight. So thank you for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Please give them a bigger round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And finally, the last of the silver medallions, located in Sherwal, a bit ahead of Pune as one travels from Mumbai towards it. This is a leader in the pharmaceutical packaging sector. It is one of the leading manufacturers of pharma-grade plastic and metallic films. They make products to globally acceptable standards, and their exports read like a who's who in the sector. In spite of the COVID situation, operational excellence in this plant has not been ignored. It continues to evolve, and overall, the plan seems to be on the right path. We are referring to the Shirwal unit of ACG Pharma Pack. Mr. Margo and team, please occupy your place on stage. Give them a big round of applause. Please get your hands together, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon. So ACG, we consider as, even though we are a plastic manufacturer, we consider as part of pharma industry. And compliance and excellence is the most important thing that we consider. And we have been associated with Kaizen Institute for the last 4 years. And I would say that Kaizen Institute has acted as a support system at ACG to understand what more is possible. In manufacturing industry, specifically on the shop floor where blue collar people with local vernacular languages, people are working, it is at times very difficult to communicate what we want to do. So I would say that the daily Kaizen model that has been developed, it has gone very far, and it has supported us in communicating what we want to do to the blue collar people. A person who would not understand English, and we have to speak to him every day and create a habit in that gentleman or a lady to follow the practices which will bring the, I would say, world-class product. I would say hats off to the Kaizen Institute for creating that support system. And we look forward to more association. And one more thing I would like to say is that being associated with this kind of process, it is helping us to understand what more is happening in the industry. I was at a conference a few days ago, and while we are working every day, we are working on our shop floor. At times we are very, very confined to our workplace. What is happening in the world around us, we at times are not able to identify. When we go to these places, we understand, oh, this is also possible. So here, this is also possible.
Thank you very much, Mr. Margo, and thank you, Mr. Uyan and Mr. Sashidhar, for stepping forward to give away those medallions. That was the last of the silvers, and remember, they will be named as the IMI Commitment Medallion from this year onwards. Just before going for gold, we have to give away 3 recognitions for those who have done significantly on smart manufacturing. The recognition is for those manufacturing organizations who have started off strongly in imbibing the essence of digitalization and smart manufacturing. It is not about random installation of available software and apps. It is not about grandiose dyed models and roadmaps, but rather it is a studied and logical future plan, at the end of which the digitalized future state would result in some clearly expected strategic benefit for the incumbent organization. These organizations don't get swayed with the fad. They don't invest simply before others are investing or because vendors are pounding consistently at their doors. They consider to integrate technology judiciously because they are the smart manufacturers. To explain a bit more about this, I'm going to invite Mr. Nitin Kalotia, advisor Kaizen Hansei, to please come on stage. Mr. Nitin Kalotia.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Fraser, for making my life easier. You said a lot of things that I wanted to say today. So thank you so much for that. Now, if you all see, technology today is becoming an integral part of our lives. And manufacturing sector is no exception, right? All of us are already seeing a lot of adoption of technology in the manufacturing sector. A lot of companies have started piloting it. And what is very heartening to see that even Indian companies are getting or are part of the World Economic Forum's lighthouse factories today. So we're not behind. While we're getting there, we're not as probably as largely covered as the European or the American companies, but we're still pretty well represented in that forum today. So what is the smart factory or the smart price initiative that we have initiated? The entire thought was, this is a subject, this is a topic which is known, but not very well. It is coming up and there's a need for people to become more aware about it. So one of the things that we're trying to do through this particular platform is to create awareness about how companies can leverage technology to make our manufacturing more agile, more flexible, more productive, cost effective, blah, blah, blah. So that's one core objective that we have. Then there are companies who have already come a long way in terms of adopting it, getting benefited out of it. And our interest is to recognize these companies, felicitate them on platforms like this so that they are more encouraged to take it forward. The third thing that we're trying to do is a lot of companies have started adoption of technology. A lot of them are still challenged by the pilot purgatory and they're deciding how to take it forward. So we as enablers would like to see how we can enable these companies in terms of overcoming these challenges. So these are the three large objectives through which or through this platform is what we're trying to address today. So what does the platform really consist of? This particular framework has got two core elements into it. One that you see is around the technology part of it. So what are the technologies? Which of them are relevant for organizations? Not all these technologies are very relevant for each of the manufacturing sector, depending on the sector that you represent. Some of them are more relevant and more important compared to the others. So what we're trying to look at from this program, from this perspective is, how well have you identified what is relevant for you and how well have you really deployed it? And you would see the technologies are all from level 1 to level 4 of the ISA 95 framework. So we're covering the entire landscape of it. The second very important element is, okay, one is the technology adoption, but what is the value creation that we have done? So what you see on the right are what we call as the digital themes, right? So how have we adopted this technology into a particular process that has kind of enabled or that has resulted into a value creation for an organization? So if I were to say, let's say intelligent processes. So how are we, let's say, combining an IoT along with, let's say, an advanced analytics, artificial intelligence, so that my processes are more predictive, they're more reliable, they're more responsive, and at some point of time, they are also autonomous. So those are the concepts that we're looking at from a digital theme perspective. So there are about 10 themes that we're talking about, and this is what we are looking at evaluating companies on. While we do this, the entire journey that we are mapping on is starting from a disconnected factories to a connected factories, which is like, what we also call as a top floor to a shop floor connectivity part of it. So how are we are getting there? Then we're also talking about how are the processes getting more automated. Then moving on to the next level of maturity, which is intelligent. And finally, going on to the last level of maturity, what we call as the autonomous factories. And I would also want to call these factories as lights out factories. So factories which are self-reliant, self-responsive, self-managed, and they auto-correct as we go along. So this is the maturity on which each of these companies gets mapped. And typically, if you really look at the entire framework, it is built on the concept saying that, okay, do we understand what is important from a business perspective? So what you see on your extreme end is the strategic focus areas. Having identified the strategic focus areas from a business perspective, do we understand what kind of KPIs, what kind of matrices we want to improve, what kind of impact we want to create in business? And then to enable this, we're talking about technology, and that's what we call as the desired state of the smart factory framework. So we're saying that these are the factories that demonstrate high level of resilience, flexibility, reliability, predictability. And this is where we are looking at companies. So the 3 companies that are getting recognized today are the companies which have demonstrated the choice of right technologies for them at this point of time. They have created business impacts by adopting this technology and have got a very structured approach to taking the journey forward. So I want to congratulate the 3 companies that are getting recognized today. They are also, some of them are a part of the Lights Out Factory program. Thank you for being the guiding for, or the guidance and the lighthouse for other companies to take on the journey forward. And congratulations to everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nitin. And on to the Smart Manufacturers Recognition then. To do the honors for the next set of 3 medallions, I would like to invite Mr. N. Thamaya, MD and CEO, Merita India, and Vice President, Asia Pacific, Merita Incorporated, and Mr. Nachiket Kodkani, Senior Vice President, Farms Division, Mahindra and Mahindra, to please step on stage to give away these medallions. Come on, you can do better than that, ladies and gentlemen. Lovely. So the first of the 3 recognitions go to the Dumduma unit of HUL. Their investments in technology and standardization of the same, including equipment, reflects the long-term vision of the company in this aspect. Team Dumduma, please come on stage. Congratulations.
Few words. Yes, thank you. I think what we heard this morning about the quote from Mr. Cho on we first built people and then we built cars. I think for our Dumduma factory, what goes very true, and in particular after a very difficult period in Assam with the COVID that we had in 2020 and 21, it's that if you as a company take care of your people really take care of your company. And we see that very much in our factory there, where we have over 1,500 people working with us. One of our most modern factories for producing beauty and personal care products. Actually, with products that are going all over the country and including some of exports as well. And the improvements that the factory has made over the last couple of years have been truly amazing. And I think that team that sits there of over 1,500 people in the factory, the work that they have done, first of all, in the communities during the COVID time, the donation of oxygen concentrators, now the setting up of a education center for technology as well. With the Prabat program, a lot of work has been done in the communities around our factory. I think today, this true recognition is of the work that is being done inside the factory, where it's a true example for our whole network of what continuous improvement looks like. And I want to thank the Kaizen Institute for organizing this initiative and for this recognition. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. William Yuen. Big hand to the Dumduma unit of HUL. Now, the second of the three recognitions go to the ICML Panchala unit of ITC Limited. The selective and thoughtful investment in technology and its use to enhance process stability and optimization is well appreciated. Let's welcome Team Panchala. Please come on stage. Congratulations. And the last of the three recognitions goes to Vedanta Limited, Jarsuguda. The end-to-end process of technology identification and implementation is commendable. The practices to follow through on target projects with respect to the target benefits, intended pace of implementation, and most importantly, the robust system to micro-monitor all aspects leading to successful implementation is commendable. Team Vedanta Jarsuguda, please come on stage. Congratulations and a big hand to all of them.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think what we do is we believe in people. We nurture their talents, their aspirations, and their thought process. And we build on technology and connecting people. These are the few thought processes we have, and we are driving business. And thank you, Kaizen Hansei, thank you, IMA Award, and all the juries. And we learned a lot, and I'm sure the way feedback has been given, we will improve further. Thank you very much.
That was Vedanta Jarsuguda. Congratulations to you. And thank you, Mr. Kodkani, for coming on stage. Mr. Thimaya, may I request you to please make a brief address to the gathering. Ladies and gentlemen, an automobile engineer, Mr. Thimaya has worked 30 years in the automotive industry. After completion of his BE, he joined BEML in the engine division. He later worked for Tata Cummins India, and Honeywell Turbo Technologies. At Merita, he is responsible for the subsidiaries and JVs in the APAC region, which include R&D, manufacturing, sales and marketing, and aftermarket businesses in India, China, Japan, and Australia. He has been nominated by the Economic Times as the most promising business leader 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Thimaya.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I won't take much time today. I think lunch is waiting for all of you. So I think I want to reiterate on three things, which is again reiterate and refresh on, which is very relevant for today's context for the manufacturing. Number one is digitization, right? We all speak about digitization. I think it's very, very important step. But before going into digitization, I would request all the manufacturing folks here to bring your manufacturing setup into a basic level. I think still in India, we are not, most of the manufacturing setup is not at reach that basic level of, I would say for ease of understanding, say TPM level, right? Any operating system, whichever operating systems you use in your manufacturing locations, you have to bring it up to one level, right? A TPM level, for example, or a TQM level, for example. Till then, don't get into digitization, right? Get to that level, the basic operations level, and then go as a phase 2 into digitization, which is very, very important in the future for us to lead the world in terms of overall manufacturing, which is going to come. The second one I would say is reducing the break-even point. We have seen that the economy or the market or the world is very, very volatile. So we all need to work in the manufacturing level, right? Reduce your capacity break-even point so that any fluctuation in your demand, whether up and down, you are able to manage if your break-even points are low, so that there is no impact on cost and you no need to do drastic action in terms of cost, which is not good in the long run, because in the short run, the demands will go down, the volatility will be there. So if you start taking drastic action in terms of cost, it's going to impact in the long run. So reduce your break-even point in the manufacturing level. The third one I would say is sustainability. I don't want to talk big on sustainability, but what you people can do in the shop floor in terms of sustainability is think about net zero in whatever you do. Number one, if you're using water, see how can you be net water positive. If you're using energy, see how can you be net zero on energy. If you're generating waste, see how can you be net zero on waste elimination. So think about, drive this through your shop floor in your respective manufacturing setups, that make people think that how can I make net zero on whatever the energy or whatever the consumption I'm going to do in the shop floor. I think, again, I said just 3 things, nothing new in here, just reiterating, refreshing, so that you can go back and talk to your people on these 3 things and make this happen in your shop floor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Timaya. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to the gold medallions, which will henceforth be called as the IMI Distinguished Medallion. We have 7 of these going out today. To do the honors, may I invite on stage Mr. Jayant Murthy, Joint Managing Director, Kaizen Institute, SAIN, and Mrs. Supriya Badwe, Executive Director at the Badwe Group. Please give them a big hand, ladies and gentlemen. Before we go ahead, just a small request to all those coming on stage to receive your medallions. May I request you, in the interest of time, to please keep your acceptance speech to about 30 seconds because we're running a little behind schedule. Thank you very much. Okay, so it's quite well known that no one particular methodology or ideology of excellence fits one and all organizations. Each one has to decide on the route of excellence that would give it the maximum benefit. So here we have an organization that is dominated by the tender business and that works in a project configuration where delay in projects and poor project planning could cause havoc with the profitability of the project in particular and that of the organization in general. Positive action has been taken on suggestions made during the earlier assessment and project teams formed to address the OFIs. A comprehensive operational excellence roadmap encompassing all critical elements of sustainable business growth has been drawn up. Ladies and gentlemen, we are referring to the Raipur unit of Kalpataru Power Transmission Limited. May we call upon the must make it happen attitude, Mr. Ketan Nirmal and his team, under the able guidance of Mr. Kumara Devan and Mr. K.K. Jain. Please step forward to receive your medallions.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of entire Kalpataru team, I would like to thank IME team for the wonderful assessment they have done and for the insight they have brought in. Every one of us in Kalpataru very strongly believe that operation excellence can become a strategic weapon of a business. We can
make a big difference in terms of value that we create for the customers and in terms of competitive advantage that we can create for the organization. In this context, though we have made significant progress in our journey of manufacturing excellence, we are always aware of the fact that there is a lot more that can be done. There is so much of potential for us to keep working on. And this thought keeps propelling us out of our comfort zone, keep making us try for newer things which will take us to the newer heights of excellence. Our aim is to become a global benchmark in terms of manufacturing excellence in the transmission tower manufacturing industry, and in the process, create a very sustainable competitive advantage to the organization. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and congratulations to the Raipur unit of Kalpataru Power Transmission Limited. Thank you, Mrs. Superior Badwe, for stepping on stage and giving away that medallion. Mr. Jayant Murthy, if you can please continue to stay back on stage. Yes. To give away the next medallion, may I request Mr. Pankaj Bajaj, Managing Director, Bajaj Industries Limited, to please step on the stage. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. I'd also like to invite Mr. Anurag Agarwal, Executive President, Strategic Initiatives and International Business at Polycab India. Mr. Anurag Agarwal. Okay. All right. So this CMO, CDMO is into the business of generics. This unit comes across as a progressive and extremely compliant organization, and one that is very confident about what it wants to do and in what space. It has imbibed all the necessary and essential tenets of excellence that are qualification requirements for the sector. No doubt, we see a huge pride in the brand amongst all stakeholders who are disciplined and high on compliance. The organization is high on data integrity as well. There is a thoughtful process to decide on investment in automation and in equipment. There's a clear alignment to the corporate strategy with respect to being a CMO, CDMO. Let's watch a brief video of this facility. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are referring to the Unit 7 of MedRec in Bangalore Rural. May we call upon the resolute and determined Mr. Jojo Joseph and his team under the able guidance of Mr. Y.A. Chowdhury. Please come on stage.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And first of all, thanks to Kaizen Hansei for awarding the gold in the gold category. And Medric is a 100% subsidiary of Meiji Corporation Japan, which is a $12 billion turnover company. And we became 100% subsidiary of Meiji in 2015. And we manufacture pharmaceutical products for almost 60 countries, including India, Japan, and many European countries. And being in pharmaceutical industry, the highest part of pyramid occupies with quality and compliance. So how do we meet quality and compliance for 60 countries when with an ever-growing cost in manufacturing? The only way we can compete in this market is by doing continuous improvement and reducing the cost and giving the highest quality standard products to the world market. So I think in 2015, when we started this operational excellence division, we took some projects, but later it became the culture of the company. And we have our counterparts from Japan who also motivates us to take a lot of lead. And that's how it became the culture of the organization. And then last year, we got award from Meiji Corporation's award for Kaizen. And we thought that why not we go for an independent assessment like Kaizen Hansei. And we have two senior auditors like Mr. Raghavendra Rao and Mr. Prabhu, who has audited our facility. And we got a lot of insights into the operations. And we took a lot of merits from there, and we will try to continue to improve ourselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you and congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Bajaj and Mr. Murthy. You've been on the stage for quite some time. Thank you so much. Give them a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. To give away the next medallion, may I call on stage Dr. Sarita Nagpal, Partner Kaizen Institute, SAIN, and Mr. Deepak Prasad, Deputy CEO, Vedanta Limited, Metals Business. Let's hear a round of applause for both of them, ladies and gentlemen. So this transformed plant has now become a pleasure to walk through. May not be a surprising statement, but definitely becomes one when told that this is a plant that makes technical grade chemicals that go into the manufacture of pesticides, herbicides, and weedicides. The positive differential changes implemented over the last 10 months with respect to cleanliness, batch cycle time, variance studies, and implementation of new projects is commendable. The enthusiasm and learning attitude that is seen in the plant is common. The market intelligence reports and inputs that go into business planning at a corporate level make a strategic impact. Let's have a look of a little video of this facility.
Hi everyone. I dedicate this award to the professionals working in UPL Unit 1. We are in the agri business and we are agri solution company and believe on the working on innovations and new technologies. I thank to our leadership team who continue to support us for the taking this company ahead and to work toward the sustainable growth. I also thank to IMEXI for giving such a platform to recognize our continued effort. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, yes, we're referring to the UPL unit at Ankleshwar, Unit 1. Cheers to the team led by the mercurial Mr. Vinod Singh. Thank you so much. Congratulations. And thank you, Dr. Nagpal and Mr. Deepak Prasad, for stepping on stage to give away those medallions. Please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for Dr. Nagpal and Mr. Deepak Prasad. To do the next set of honors, may I call on stage Mr. Vijay Kalra, Chairman of the Mahindra Institute of Quality and Group Corporate Office Leadership, and Mr. K.K. Jain, Director Operations, Chief Ethics Officer and former CFO of the Kalpataru Group, and Mr. Y.S. Shashidhar, Advisor Dubal Holdings and former Managing Director and Partner of Frost & Sullivan, Manasa Region. Give the three gentlemen a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. So the fourth of these 7 medallions is about a plant that has impressed with its choice and prioritization of investment, of time, effort on things that matter the most. Seems to be a very thoughtful and a wise process led by a dynamic leader. The activities towards productive maintenance, total quality management, and continuous improvement are very impressive, to say the least. For this unit, operational excellence is not a function of just one methodology, but rather it is a judicious choice of the right methodology for the right purposes. For those who know the Banbury area of the tire plants, they would know it to be one of the dirtiest areas. Now, if I could tell you that this company has a mandate that soon they should be planning to have lunches in this area, it speaks volumes about the focus on cleanliness. The integrity of materials reconciliation and incoming inspection is impressive, just as the capacity calculations, which are scientific. A higher level of enthusiasm, a good mix of youth and experience, and a dynamic team of leadership is what gives us the conviction that once all the dust settles down, this could become a benchmark facility for all to spectacle. Ladies and gentlemen, we are referring to the Dahej unit of Yokohama Off-Highway Tires. Please welcome the action-oriented Mr. Aditya Shukla and his team comprising of Mr. Sunil Malagi and supported by the silently strong Mr. Narendra Sawant. Please give them a big hand, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. We accept this award with great humility and also a lot of gratitude from everybody at our Yokohama Dahej plant. In Yokohama, we believe that we deliver the best of highway tires, and that too with full customer delight. All decisions taken are with 100% customer centricity. And to get better, what better tool can we have than making a Hansei? So Kaizen Hansei came in to support us with going ahead with our own Hansei, that is to reflect and to improve. So thank you, Kaizen Hansei, for helping us improve, for charting the way forward of our excellence journey. And we look forward to many more of these assessments and learning from you. Thank you, Kaizen Institute. Thank you, Kaizen Hansei.
Please give them a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. That's the Dahej unit of Yokohama Off-Highway Tires. Okay, this is one of India's largest integrated smelters that produces aluminium ingots and value-added aluminium products. The leadership in this facility is very clear about what elements of excellence are needed in this facility and what priority. That is, for a commodity like aluminium, which is a power-intensive and where margins come from, value-added products and smart control of costs, power and alumina. The carbon plant is a possible benchmark and extremely well organized. An appreciable effort to indigenously develop a cost-effective pot controller has been made. Here is a brief video of this mega facility. Let's have a look.
Vedanta Aluminium is part of the Vedanta Group. When we started, the vision was to make India as a global leader in this strategic and future metal. Vedanta are the largest aluminium and aluminium product manufacturer in the world with a leading edge technology. Today we are at a 2 million ton capacity, but our focus remains to become 3 million ton fully integrated business model. As a company, as a group, our purpose remains to give it back to the society. We work on the 4 thematic areas. One is education, livelihood, healthcare, and infrastructure with a focus on child and women development. There are a lot of signature projects which we are doing. One is the Nandghar, wherein we are talking of 0 to 6 year girl child to see them and make, malnutrition free, and also the basic education, healthcare, and also the women empowerment. That is the one flagship which we are driving 4,000 Nandghar across India, 17 states. Coming to the impact on society, we create direct and indirect employment and also develop thousands of small and medium size industries as a cluster approach, which we are looking and going forward. And we also attract global investment in the country to come and set up in India for manufacturing. There are 70 UN SDG goals, right from environment, social and governance. We have a sustainability development framework and cover 360-degree impact in all respects. We are also trying to change the mix of the aluminium as a product, wherein we are looking to move to the renewable energy so that tomorrow we can make more and more green metal.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're referring to the Jharsuguda unit of Vedanta Limited Metals Business. Please welcome the professionally focused and proud team at Jharsuguda under the dynamic leadership of Mr. Deepak Prasad. Please put your hands together for them, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations, and your 30 seconds acceptance speech, please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I accept this award on behalf of the entire Vedanta Jharsuguda team. I'm very much thankful to Kaizen Institute and Hansei Kaizen for this opportunity. It was for the first time that we participated in this. And along with the smart manufacturing, both the awards, it's a delight to us. Thank you again.
Please put your hands together for the Jharsuguda unit of Vedanta Limited, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Jain and Mr. Shashidhar. May I request Mr. Kalra to please continue to remain on stage. To do the concluding two honors, may I call on stage Mr. Vinod Grover, Managing Director, Kaizen Institute, SAIN. Please give him a big hand, ladies and gentlemen. And also Mr. Pradeep Banerjee, former Executive Director, Hindustan Lever Limited, and former Vice President, Supply Chain, Unilever, South Asia. A big hand for Mr. Banerjee as well. Now, coming from a land that wakes up at 4:30 in the morning, this unit makes shampoos, toothpaste, and hair oils. It is nestled in the interiors of the tea gardens of Dumduma and comes from a pedigree of a global organization, reputed for its supply chain competencies. There is a high degree of compliance and discipline to lay down systems and procedures, including in-quality management, and towards the constant reduction of top 5 in the Pareto analysis. This site also demonstrated one of the best implemented COVID compliance protocols, and there is no escape for anyone, irrespective of hierarchy. Here is a brief video of that factory.
Personal Products Factory, Dumduma. The factory is situated in Tinsukia district of Assam. The factory is in the midst of tea garden of Dumduma town. There are 4 units in the factory, covering a total plot area of 72 acres. The first unit of the factory, CLS1, was set up in the year 2001. In 2003, the second unit oral plant was set up. In 2007, the third unit talc plant was set up and converted into CLS in 2013. In 2017, Unit 4 new manufacturing setup was commissioned. The site serves 3 categories, which are skin care, hair care, and oral care. Unit 4, state-of-the-art new manufacturing setup, digitally enabled future-fit factory. Unit 4 certified with LEED 4, gold rating by USGBC. HUL runs a livelihood center, Prabhat, at Dumduma with a capacity of training 300 youths each year. HUL runs a school, Ankur, a school for differently abled children. For the last 25 years, it is a center for youngsters with conditions like impaired sight, hearing, cerebral palsy, polio, etc. DDF runs Sanjeevani Primary Medical Service on wheels for neighboring tea gardens and served more than 3.2+ lakh patients. Construction work of Technical Training Center near Dumduma factory has been initiated. 125 to 150 students will be trained on professional courses in a year. DDF is also actively working on increasing the footprint of its suppliers in the state of Assam. These initiatives are under various stages of planning and execution, includes setting up and expanding facilities for production of laminate, tubes, cartons and bottles at Guwahati and Dumduma, and will help in increasing the material supply capability in the region. DDF has 2 megawatt solar plant 15% of the site power from renewable energy. 1,600 tons of CO2 reduction achieved per year.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we present to you the Dumduma factory of Hindustan Unilever Limited. We invite the mentoring leader that Mr. Rishikesh Ramani is, and his team from Dumduma under the able guidance of Mr. William Uyan and Mr. Akhilesh Yadav. Please put your hands together for this wonderful team.
Thank you. I couldn't resist not speaking a few words. Really thrilled. I picked up something that one of the previous awardees said that they had 2 auditors. We had 3. So you should. I liked when somebody said that we have reached the inflection point. I think last 2 years we have heard so much about infection that inflection sounds, that we are moving towards inflection, and to be static at this juncture is to go in the backward direction. And this assessment was quite rigorous. My team, used to complain about the auditors, and that means it was quite rigorous. And just one, I represent 1,500 people here, 1,500 families here. So full credit to all of them for what they've done, and the journey of excellence. When Pradeep sir was in charge, now Willem, with Akhilesh and all of us, we will continue to take this forward. Last but not the least, a small message to the organizers. Platinum sounds better than Apex. So just food for thought. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Point taken. Please give them a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. That's the Dumduma factory. Okay. The last of these medallions located in the eastern city of Kolkata. This integrated plant of the Indian multinational converts potatoes and maida into magic. I'm feeling hungry already. It manufactures potato wafers, noodles, and snack foods. In its state-of-the-art plant, where pride in the brand amongst all stakeholders was evident, there has been a good demonstration of focus on cost and in a very neat and clean discipline in most areas of the plant. It has acquired a market share of 22 to 24% in just 1 decade, and newer flavors have been introduced in the noodles category regularly. There is a trend to capture shift-level data, losses and variances in yield, which is appreciable, yet not so common. It has made a good start on OEE and in the capture of downtime losses. Here's a brief video of this wonderful Panchala factory.
Integrated Consumer Goods Manufacturing and Logistics Facilities, or ICMLs, are being strategically incorporated in the business model of ITC Foods Division to provide long-term sustainable competitive advantage to the business. These ICMLs would enable ITC to constantly craft and deliver best-in-class products, enhance cost efficiency whilst enabling greater value realization to the farmer, help reduce India's agri-wastage, and provide ITC's brands a competitive edge in terms of scale, freshness, and close-to-market distribution.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're referring, of course, to the ICML unit of ITC Limited at Panchla. A hearty welcome to the passionate team headed by the always aiming higher, Partho Bhattacharjee. Kudos to him and his team. Give them a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have Mr. Bhattacharjee on a Zoom call with us. So let's listen in, and then we'll request the team to step onto the stage to take the award.
I make Kaizen Hansei for giving us this opportunity to get assessed, and because of this assessment, which I felt that which is a very deep and logical assessment of manufacturing excellence journey, and we got this improvement in our assessment score over last year, and that gave us the confidence to go and work and improve our systems in more effective way. We started this journey since inception of our plant in 2017, and we have very young people who quickly grasped or still learning about these processes of Kaizen methodologies and everything. And we worked on very relentlessly. Our team worked on the constructive feedbacks which has been given by the assessors, and because of which we have been able to do many work in the areas of improving the cultural foundation, then bringing in the effectiveness in direction setting, and bringing leanness and flexibility in operations, including extended supply chain. And it also gave us an opportunity to assess that the technology and innovation which are getting evaluated in line with the competitive advantage. The best part is that the entire assessment is Gemba oriented, which is to check the actual existence and effectiveness of excellence initiatives. I am really thankful to the team and team of assessors, and I also regret that I could not be present personally to receive such a prestigious honor, which has been bestowed by Kaizen Hansei. And I thank on behalf of my team and all the stakeholders immensely for giving us this confidence and opportunity to improve even further. Thank you, Kaizen Hansei team. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yes, that was Partho Bhattacharjee from the ICML unit of ITC Limited at Panchla. May I request Mr. Deepak Desai to please step on stage to receive the medallion. Please give them a big hand, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Vijay Kalra and Mr. Vinod Grover. Mr. Banerjee, if you can please stay on stage. I'm going to request Mr. Pradeep Banerjee, ladies and gentlemen, to please address us and ring the closing bell for the ceremony. Now, Unilever is the first company he joined after graduating as a chemical engineer from IIT Delhi. It was almost 4 decades of association with Unilever, and he retired in 2019 as Executive Director, Hindustan Unilever, VP Supply Chain Unilever South Asia, and Chairman Nepal Unilever. He continued to be on the board for 1 more year. And presently, he is Senior Advisor to BCG and is on the boards of Gabriel India, Chambal Fertilizers, Stellar Value Chain Solutions, and Whirlpool India as an independent director. He has also mentored 3 tech startups in the areas of artificial intelligence and sustainability. Not to mention, he is the managing partner of Pradeep Banerjee Associated LLP. Please put your hands together for Mr. Pradeep Banerjee, ladies and gentlemen.
Now that effectively carbon dates me and basically says he's an old guy. Thank you for doing that. Look, it's been a long morning and I'm acutely aware that I stand between you and lunch, and that's not a very good place to be. So I will be brief. But I have a very pleasant task, and the task for me today is to essentially to say thank you. And I want to say thank you at the bottom of my heart, because I really, for all my life, I've believed in the power of manufacturing. I think that's the heart of the value chain where we create value. And therefore, my thanks go to essentially three sets of people today. But the first one is to Kansai, the Kaizen Hansei Institute, for creating this powerful platform, because many speakers before me have said, I was listening with a lot of attention, that this is truly an inflection point for the Indian manufacturing sector for many reasons. Call it the pandemic, call it the current instability in Europe, or many other reasons, or the fantastic initiatives being taken by the government. But the fact is, this is the time to grab the opportunity. So thank you for creating this platform. And also, I particularly like that you have a word called integrated, and that's the point I want to make, because that's probably the most important part of expressing it in this manner, because manufacturing on its own can do a lot, but it is only a part of the full game. And I honestly believe that the more all of you sitting here who lead manufacturing for us in various shapes and form, the more we are able to understand what is our true purpose in the extended value chain, we will make ourselves more and more and more relevant with each passing hour. So integrated manufacturing excellence is truly the right word. The second set of thanks would go to an enormous number of senior leaders who are present in the room, some of whom have chosen to have had to leave the room as well. But the fact that they are here underscores the sponsorship and the importance the senior leaders have for this very intense activity. I don't have all the names, I'm sure. I will miss some of them, but thank you, sirs. Mr. Ajay Shankar, Mr. Vinod Grover, Mr. Kariyappan, Mr. Vijay Kalra, and Mr. Timaya, you have, and many others who I'm sure I missed, but your presence means a lot to all the people who have participated in this. But the third one, my biggest thanks, and probably the most important one, goes to all of you who have participated. Many of you are here today, and many of you are not here today, who have, in all these times of crisis, the easiest thing would have been to say, you know what, you guys, you don't come now because we are really passing through a difficult time, and nobody would bat an eyelid, and they would accept. But the fact that it has been carried out, the fact that audits did take place in a difficult time, indicates the passion which many of you, all of you in the room, from the factories across the length and breadth of the country have. And really thank you for making this happen, because you are a very important part of this inflection or this opportunity which India has to grab. And if I have to leave just one word, because I'm acutely conscious that we are running a little late and I'm between you and lunch, that I would ask you to consider, go beyond your current perimeter. The principles of manufacturing excellence are absolutely valid when you see the extended value chain, whether it is, for sake of simplicity, I say plan, source, make, deliver. But if you see how you can democratize data, how you can really get information to the right place at the right time, how you can really break down the silos which are in the organization, talk to your planning guys, talk to your, very often the misinformed brand managers who come and give you an innovation plan, which is probably not very practical. But they are doing it in absence of any other information from you. So the responsibility to go beyond the perimeter of the four walls of the factory so that manufacturing becomes even more relevant to the extended value chain is yours. And I would ask you to become almost the torchbearers, or the torchbearers for promoting that single number culture, or the single version of truth in the organization. And many people will call it the SNOP meeting, somebody will call it something else. But the fact is, please do your best to break down the organizational barriers, which are beyond manufacturing, first within supply chain and then beyond supply chain, and you can make a huge difference to the organization. So with that said, a big thank you to all the three sets of people who made today happen. And I really wish you individually and personally, and of course professionally, all the very best. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee. Ladies and gentlemen, we would also like to thank our prime media partner, Efficient Manufacturing, and our media partners, Chemical Weekly, Metals and Minerals Review, CEO Magazine, and Autocar Professional. Please give them all a big hand, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you as well to Mr. Sagar Tamhane, Mr. Ravi Raghavan, Mr. Shrikant Pandey, Mr. Avinash Bhakre, and Mr. Paresh Parmar. We look forward to continuing our association into this year as well. They say all good things must come to an end, and so in likewise fashion, today's lovely gathering, on behalf of Kaizen Hansei and the Kaizen Institute India, we congratulate all the winners. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for this wonderful and insightful afternoon. Before we go and disperse for lunch, here's an interesting story about buffaloes. A herd of buffaloes can move only as fast as the slowest buffalo. When the herd is hunted, it is the slowest and the weakest ones at the back that get killed first. This natural selection is good for the herd as a whole because the general speed and health of the whole herd keeps improving by the regular killing of the weakest members. In much the same way, the human brain can only operate as fast as the slowest brain cells. Excessive intake of alcohol, we all know, kills brain cells, but naturally it attacks the slowest and the weakest brain cells first. In this way, regular consumption of alcohol eliminates the weaker cells, making the brain a faster and a more efficient machine. And that's why you always feel smarter after a few beers, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because we've got some beers and wine for all of you, okay, followed by lunch. So enjoy the rest of the afternoon. It was great to be in your company, ladies and gentlemen. A big kudos to all of you. Give yourselves a big round of applause. And if you enjoyed what you've been through, this experience the whole day, can someone say, wow? I'm sure you can better say, wow. Congratulations once again, ladies and gentlemen. You may proceed for lunch if you need to, but we're going to have a photo op. So I'm going to request one person from every company to please step forward with the medallions that you've received to take a nice group picture here. Yeah, for a group photograph. And then we'll follow that with the citations after the group photographs. So please step forward for the group picture. One person from each company, please. Thank you.
One second.